In this episode, Derek races upside down. The ALMS is back. And Daytona 500 preview. Welcome to episode 177 of the We Are Auto Show. What's up, Derek?
Mr. Michael Rao, over the past weekend, we had some racing. I did some racing, some sim racing. We'll talk about that in a moment. And we had some racing over in the Asian Le Mans series.
But not in Asia.
We'll talk about that in a moment. But first, let's talk about Bathurst in iRacing, which was pretty neat. So that was the second endurance event that I've ever done where you have multiple teammates.
Are you hooked?
I'm pretty hooked. It was pretty awesome.
So you can invest in like a $100,000 sim rig?
Not that hooked. No. I don't have the room to do that.
You're not going to remortgage your house?
No, not worth that. No. But I will say that running an event with teammates is a lot of fun. You definitely need to do it at some point.
I would like to.
Love it. You totally love it. And I have some photos real quick that I can show you. So this is the car that we were running. It's the same one that we were running at the Rolex 24. Same team, only 3 drivers as opposed to 6 drivers because you wouldn't need 6 drivers for 12 hours.
Too many for a 12-hour race.
That's way too many.
Yeah.
Most people in our race were running 2 to 3 drivers, which I think is about right.
That's perfect.
I will say Bathurst is a heavy concentration track.
Yeah.
It is tough to run.
Yeah.
You have to be really focused because everything is very narrow. It's high speed across up and down the hill, and there's little room for error.
Yeah, I could see that.
When error happens, it happens big.
Yeah, you don't have like a little issue at Bathurst.
No. Speaking of error, there are a bunch of YouTube channels that tend to join all the clips of all the crashes and like throw them into one video. This is our race. This is our split. We're in this race. And just watch what happens, my friend, because it is chaos.
Oh, God.
This is a really bad place to wreck.
Oh, God. Oh, no.
Luckily, we were not involved in any of this. We were actually in the pits at this point in time. But, oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, God. Oh, my God. It just keeps piling in.
Something like half the field in our race crashed in this one moment. Jeez. And this was very early in the race. I think this is only about an hour or hour and a half in.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. But lucky for us, we were not involved. And you know what that means? We gained a lot of spots.
Yes, you must have.
We started in 30th place. And by the time I was given the car, which was 4 hours into the race, we were up to 11th.
Ooh, that's big.
That's really big. That big incident that you just saw also helped a lot. I'm sure that gained us many spots. And when I got in the car, started 11th, I ran for 2 hours straight, so I did a double stint, and got the car up to P6.
So you went from 11 to 6.
Yeah.
That's a good stint. Well done, Derek.
And that's the point at which I thought, there's a chance that we get a podium in this race. And that is a cool thought to have. Now, I got out of the car for about an hour. I will say in my first stint, there was this incident, which was one of the most nerve-wracking moments I've ever had in one of these endurance races. You can see multiple cars off the track as I'm going through. Another car pulling back onto the track, which is always very sketchy.
Yeah.
And then coming into a very high-speed right-hander known as the Chase. There's a slow Ferrari that I cannot see, and we have to make very avoiding action across the grass.
God, run away
to avoid contact.
Jeez.
But lucky for us, everything was safe. So I got out of the car, got back in the car, and by the time I got back in the car, we were up to P4. When I got back out after another double stint, we were in P2. We were in second place.
So you brought yourself up from 6 to 2.
We went from 6 to 2.
Nice.
Which is, you could say 11 to 2, but whatever. Anyway, I was super impressed that our team got up to second place in this split. This is like average skill rating. We weren't any of the alien super fast guys.
I was going to say, I see leader lights. There's a 2.
There's a 2 on that leader light. Yep. That we were able to hold until the finish of the race.
You finished P2 at Bathurst.
We finished P2 at Bathurst.
Dude, that's freaking sick.
Over 12 hours. We only had a minute of repairs in the pits in total across all 12 hours, which is really good. And I gave you my Derek Schmidt guarantee that I would not spin the car.
Did you?
I never spun the car.
Oh,
I put it off track to avoid an incident, as you just saw, but I never spun the car.
well done.
Yep.
Well done, Derek.
Now-
That's exciting.
There was no chance that we were ever going to win this race,
No?
which is unfortunate. No.
Why?
The first place car, guess how many laps ahead they were when they won?
How many?
3.
Oof.
So once we did some more digging post-race, were very fast guys that tanked their rating on purpose before the Rolex 24.
Oh, that's dirty.
It's very dirty.
That's dirty dogging.
We probably could report them and get them in trouble. I don't really care that much. So by that thought process, we won that race. And I will say, we were battling with a team that was 6 seconds behind us when we crossed the finish line. So third place was on our lap, on our butts. And of the skill rating of the people that should have been in that race, we won that race.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, that's
super
awesome.
Cool. It was super, super cool.
Is that the best finish you've had so far?
I've won races in iRacing, but that was by far the best endurance finish I've ever had.
Got it.
I think it's going to be very difficult to top that.
You think you'll ever get a P1?
I don't know, because I did some more digging, and it seems like almost in every split there was one of those teams of Smurfs where they tank their rating. It's called a Smurf when you're doing that.
What's that stand for?
I don't know. That's what everybody in the gaming community calls it.
A Smurf?
Mm-hmm. It's like when you're way better, but you're playing against people that are way worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's called smurfing. I don't know. Don't know where it came from, though. It's kind of a weird word.
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah. Regardless, a blast. Well, I'll be running the 12 hours of Sebring in March.
Ooh.
Right after the real race.
Will you be running the Ferrari?
I think so. I think we are running the Ferrari. Yep.
Same team?
Different group of guys.
Oh.
Local. All Florida men.
Oh. So half of them will turn up half drunk. Yes.
All Florida men in a Florida track in an Italian sports car. What could go wrong?
You guys need to do that in a Corvette.
It's not an option.
Oh, yeah. They don't have Corvettes in there, do you?
They do. It's just not an option to run at that event.
Oh, no.
Yeah. You'll be able to run it at the Spa 24, I think, though.
That doesn't make a lot of sense.
No. Well, yeah, there is a Corvette in IMSA, so I guess they should have it. But I don't know. I think it's the Ferrari, Audi, Lamborghini, BMW, McLaren, and Porsche. Those are the ones you can run.
And you feel the best in the Ferrari, don't you?
It is by far the easiest to drive. Your big porky Porsche with the wide hips is kind of tough.
Is it?
It's hard to drive. You can get more out of the car, but to be on the limit and be at getting more out of the car is way harder than in the Ferrari. The Ferrari is much more stable at maximum attack.
Got it.
Yeah. So
makes sense. So you're going to do it again then?
Definitely will be doing it again.
Which race did you have more fun? Bathurst or Daytona?
I think Bathurst, because it wasn't because we got the result out of it, and I felt like I really helped the team doing it, because I went from P11 to P6 and then P4 to P2. So that was just very rewarding to see that happen after putting in all the hard work. So I would say that Daytona was fun, but it's actually kind of easy. And when I got out of the car out of Bathurst, I was like exhausted.
Really?
I slept well at night. And it's just a sim race. All I'm doing is sitting at my computer, but it is exhausting to race 4 hours.
Especially at Bathurst.
Right.
Where if you go 1 inch far off track, it's certain doom.
It's over. Race is over.
Man.
Yep.
That's exciting.
It was fun. But let's talk about some real racing that happened, because there was the Asian Le Mans series at Middle East.
That's not very Asia, is it?
No. I think it was in Dubai is where they were racing, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So I just had to do a quick Google. The Middle East is kind of Asia, but kind of not.
Yeah, I would not call it Asia. I think it's a region. Isn't Asia a region as well?
Asia is a continent.
You're right. What am I talking about?
It's like between the continent of Asia and the continent of Africa.
I wouldn't call it Asia. Anyway, what actually happened in this race?
Many things. Many things. One of them was a former F1 driver was racing.
Oh?
Yeah. So the Mr. Nikita Mazepin did race in the 4 Hours of Dubai.
Heck yeah.
Is that a heck yeah?
He was in F1.
He was
right?
in a Haas.
In a Haas.
He was the Russian driver.
Didn't do well. Got kicked out because Russia invaded Ukraine.
And he wasn't a great driver.
Yeah. All right. Well,
he did podium one of the 2 races.
Okay.
In a P2.
Okay.
So he was racing LMP2. Now, the Asian Le Mans Series runs LMP2, LMP3, and then GT3 spec cars.
Oh.
Not GTE spec cars.
Like,
so the European Le Mans Series, as well as the World Endurance Championship, they run LMH, they run LMP2, LMP3, and GTE cars.
is this year the last year they're running the GTE?
From my understanding, yes.
Okay. And then they will be moving to GT3.
That's my understanding.
And
I might be
IMSA
wrong, but I believe it's correct.
IMSA just moved to GT3.
IMSA moved to GT3 last year.
Oh, it was last year. You're right.
IMSA got rid of their GTE or GTLM
Right.
2 years ago now.
Now,
Not
another
this
funny
year, but
thing.
last year.
Another funny thing about the Asian Le Mans series is the acronym is ALMS.
Which was what you and I grew to know and love, the American Le Mans Series.
Yeah.
With the Panos and the Viper and all of the things.
Right.
When
So,
I first saw it, I was like, ALMS? What? Oh, I see.
it is the ALMS.
I love the ALMS.
Uh-huh.
I thought the ALMS was amazing.
It was fantastic.
It really was. But yeah, so we had some familiar names racing in the ALMS, the Asian Le Mans Series, right? Nikita Mazepin, talked about him, right? Ben Barnico. Yep, we know that name, don't we?
Yep.
Let's see. There was Ollie Jarvis. There was Nicolas Lapierre. There was, let's see, who else? Nicky Katzberg.
Oh, yeah.
There was, oh man, there is just a bunch of names here that are just very, very familiar as I'm scrolling through. Felipe Fraga, come on, man.
Top class sports car racing. I will say, if you look at this photo, I'll describe it for the audio listeners. There are roughly 10-ish P2 cars, probably another 10 to 15 P3 cars, and then a whole slew of GT cars. I'd say 20 of them, something like that.
A bunch.
So a very good sized grid of 35 plus cars to race. So there's no shortage in cars here. Now, one thing about this series that's kind of odd that me and you have found out recently is their calendar is only 2 weekends. That's
Back-to-back 2 weekends.
Back-to-back
Not just like a weekend here and then a couple months and another weekend.
It's 4 races in total across 2 weekends. So you get 2 races. Then next weekend, you get 2 races, which is kind of odd. I've never seen that for a schedule.
It seems very weird.
After doing some more digging, it seems like the 4-race season has been around since like 2013.
Yeah, 13-ish.
From a long time ago. The only real difference that has happened recently is that the 2 races are all in the Middle East, or Dubai specifically.
Yeah, Dubai and Abu Dhabi. Yep.
Right. This year they go Dubai, and then they go to another track like right next door, Abu Dhabi, that is 2 more races. Each of the races that they run, all 4 of them that they run, are 4 hours long. So you run a 4-hour race, next day you wake up, run a 4-hour race, then wait a week, the next weekend you run 4 more 4-hour races. Kind of weird.
It is an odd schedule, isn't it?
There are some notable teams like this, United Autosports, LMP2. They run in
like
the WEC.
Every series we watch.
Right, the top class sports car racing. You'll see it at Le Mans this year. Yeah, it's a high quality GT3 race cars with good drivers. Just
Herbert Motorsports. I mean, we know that team.
A really weird
Klaus
calendar.
Bachler. Yeah.
I would assume that the calendar is done for cost purposes. You only have to send the car to the Middle East for a month total-ish, probably.
Yeah.
And you can run 4 races in total and be part of the championship that the ACO runs. And I don't know if this has any play into Le Mans or not.
I bet you it does.
I think so.
I bet you this is one of those, because it is sanctioned by the ACO. I bet you this does have some pull to Le Mans. So if you wanted to get into Le Mans, and you probably wanted, you know what? Bet that's why this exists. If you want to get into Le Mans, but you want a quicker route in, you can do a full season in the week and a half.
Right. Which I think is not a bad idea for them to run. I just wish they would change the name to the Middle East Le Mans Series, not the Asian, and actually run in Asia. Like have the Asian Le Mans Series actually run in Asia.
Yeah, Thailand or Vietnam or Japan.
But you can rebrand things, so maybe
the Middle East Le Mans Series, the Mel's.
doesn't really have a rhythm to it, does it?
Yeah, where do you race? I race in the Mel's.
I don't know. To an outsider from racing, if I told you I race ALMS, they'd be like, "Huh?
Do you have a disease?
What?
Do you need to go to the hospital? Did you take your medication for your ALMS?"
Yeah. So who won the 2 races?
All right. So race 1, your podium LMP2 was it was in Orca. It was Felix Portiero, Ben Barnico, Nikita Mazepin. Then second place you had Sali Yoluk, Charles Eastwood, and oh my God, I cannot say your name, Ayankan Guven, I think. That's
Perfect.
The best I got. The first place in race 1 was taken by some American boys. John Falb, James Allen, and Kiffin Simpson.
I've never heard those names.
Me
Interesting.
neither, actually. LMP3, you did have, let's see here, you had Michael Jensen, Nick Adcock, Valdemar Eriksson in the third place car in LMP3. In second place, you had Fabrice Rossello, Xavier Yoveres, and Francois Hérault. And first place in LMP3 race 1 was Jerome de Valle. Oh my God, Gutak. That's the best I got. Let's see. In Fabien Laverne. So there you go. But your GT class winner was a BMW M4 GT3 by Chandler Hall, Nick Katzberg, and Richard Heistand. So
what were the other, you don't have to name the drivers, but what were the other cars in GT that came on the podium?
You had a BMW and then 2 Mercedeses.
Okay.
And then you had a Porsche. Then you had Porsche, Mercedes, Ferrari, Lamborghini, Aston, McLaren. Wow, lots of different makes.
It's great. Very diverse in the GT class, which is neat.
Race 2. I'm just going to give you the top step. LMP2 went to another American fellow here, Nolan Siegel, Christian Bogle, and Charles Cruz. Then you had LMP3 was taken in a Duquesne by Tom Van and Valentino Catalano. And then the GT cars were, Nick Katzberg's team swept the weekend. Chandler Hall, Nick Katzberg, and Richard Heistand. And that was your top step in each class.
And that was the BMW. Mm-hmm. What was second?
A Mercedes, followed by a Ferrari, followed by McLaren, then a McLaren, then an Aston.
Wow.
Lots of different makes. I love that.
Yeah, that is very cool. I will say I did toss these races up on the website. If you want to go check it out, weareauto.io. And Asian Le Mans Series is up there. I have last year's and this year's races so far. And this next weekend will also be racing this series in the Middle East. They'll be having the final 2 races of the season.
Yeah, the MELS, the Middle East Le Mans Series. I mean the ALMS, the Asian Le Mans Series. That will be racing this weekend.
Yeah.
So what else will be racing this weekend?
Other than the Asian Le Mans Series, we will have NASCAR back with an official race.
Woo!
Instead of just the clown show that was in California. Mm-hmm. We'll have the Daytona 500, the biggest race of the season for them.
Yeah.
And there's debate right now in the NASCAR community. That's not the biggest race of the season anymore.
What is the biggest? Talladega?
People are trying to kind of come up with a variety of things. They were saying that the race that happened in California is debatably bigger.
The Clash?
For marketing purposes.
Oh my God.
Yep. Which is interesting to think.
If that actually gets truly claimed, that's just horrible.
And then they're saying that the final race of the season, which is the championship decider, when you narrow it down to the 4 drivers, is probably a bigger race.
That one I can understand.
Interesting.
But the Clash just sucks.
I totally agree. The Clash was kind of a mess, but Anyway, quick preview for the Daytona 500. Qualifying is very odd. I think that it was very odd last year too, but hear me out as to how it happens this year. They have the duels, which I think are 2 different races that will happen. I don't remember how many laps they are, but they race a full race to set the grid for the 500. Now, the front row of the grid for the 500, the top 2 cars, just the front row, will be done on single car qualifying pace. Fastest 2 cars set the front row.
What about the rest of the rows?
I'm glad you asked. Rows 2 through 19 will be set by the duels, with the first duel being the inside lane and the second duel being the outside lane. Finishing position. Yep. Kind of weird. Then row 20, there will only be 20 rows. Kind of odd, which means we'll have 40 cars.
21 or 22 rows?
Right. We'll have 40 cars at this year's Daytona 500. Normally, in every other race that will happen this season, we'll have 43 cars total. Don't ask me why Daytona only has 40. I don't know. It's kind of dumb in my opinion.
That seems odd.
But they have 40 cars. And there's this whole weird open car spot thing going on. Let me explain this one to you.
Hit me.
There's 6 drivers in totals who will be vying for 4 open spots. When I say open, I mean you can come bring a sanctioned NASCAR in a team to the Daytona 500 and try to qualify your way into the race.
That just sounds like how you'd want to race.
In theory, every race should be like that. But that's not how it works. Because there are 36 contestants that are automatically entered based on them driving the rest of the season. So, 6 cars are coming. The names of these cars, the drivers, will be Connor Daly, Austin Hill, Jimmy Johnson.
He's coming back.
What? Travis Pastrana.
That I did know. I knew Travis Pastrana was racing. That's going to be cool.
Chandler Smith and Zane Smith. So, some notable names for sure. But those drivers, there's 6 of them total. They will be trying to get 4 total spots, which means 2 are going home in qualifying. Kind of crappy, in my opinion, that NASCAR's doing that, considering you normally have a 43-car field. You're sending 2 people home, but you could make a 42-car field and just allow everybody in. What? What is going on here?
Doesn't make a lot of sense.
I don't understand it.
A lot of things I'm noticing just don't make sense right now.
I totally agree. And apparently that last row, that row 20, will consist of 2 of those open spots. The other 2 spots will be from the duels, which also doesn't make sense either.
What?
I don't get it. Regardless, Daytona 500 this weekend, 40 cars. 2 are going home and qualifying. The rest will race. That's all you need to know.
So, are you gonna wear like the overalls? You're gonna have like the Budweiser hat.
I'm gonna be Hale and Dale. I don't know about you.
Raise Hale, praise Dale, brother.
Exactly.
Love it. I am kind of excited for the Daytona 500.
Who isn't?
It's an exciting race.
We were just there too, which is kind of funny to think. Yeah.
And I still want them to run the Daytona road course.
There's no way in hell.
Not for the 500, but I still want to see NASCAR run Daytona road course.
Didn't they do that a couple years back?
They did. And remember, they added the second
chicane
bus stop, chicane, and they added the curbing that was like 4 miles high. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
It was like just yeet the NASCAR across the track.
Right.
I want to see that be a standard in the schedule.
Yeah, I would too. From what I know, the new cars have some safety changes. They're supposed to be softer when they hit the wall, which is a positive.
Good.
So they won't kill the drivers as much. And they're supposed to be better about the fire suppression. Apparently they were getting rubber buildup near the exhaust, which was causing fires last year. That should be fixed. We'll see. I'm hoping for a good race, but it's going to be pack racing. The big one will happen. Half the field will go away, and then we'll watch them crash to the finish line. It'll be great.
Yeah. And as we mentioned before, NASCAR did get rid of the Hail Mary ring pass.
They did. You cannot ride the wall anymore.
Correct. So,
yeah. The Ross Chastain move.
Yeah, Chastain is no longer allowed to do the Chastain.
Yeah.
I suppose. Do you have anything else for episode 177?
I do not.
All right, it's going to wrap us up. Thanks so much for watching and listening. If you're watching on YouTube, please do leave us a thumbs up and drop a comment on the video. Let us know what you think about the Asian Le Mans series and why they only race 4 races. I don't know. And if you're listening on audio, send us that answer via social. Facebook is We Are Auto. Instagram is WeAreAuto_. YouTube is We Are Auto. And our website is weareauto.io, where you can go to catch some of your favorite past races. So thanks again. Catch you guys in the next one.
Peace.